Hello and welcome to Grove Studios. My name is Matthew Ball. Online I go by the Boogie Woogie Kid. You can find me on Facebook as the Boogie Woogie Kid and out there in Google land. But I specialize in music from New Orleans and from the swing dance era really. So I'm going to play a little bit of Boogie Woogie here to start. I know that I was asked to emphasize some of my own music or music that I wrote, and this Boogie Woogie is a piece I wrote myself. It's titled Owen's Boogie Woogie, named after my son, who when he was a toddler would dance to this one. Boogie Woogie. All right. So, as I said, that was one of my own, but I'm going to play a classic for you next. This is a little blues take on an old gospel song, and many of these old spirituals have become jazz and blues standards, particularly in the New Orleans tradition. And this is one of that type. This is a little tune called When the Saints Go Marching In, with a little blues flavor.
marching in. I wanna be, yeah, yeah, when the saints go marching in. I know in little waves they come rolling in. Oh, in little waves they come rolling in. I wanna be, yeah, yeah, when the saints go marching in. They go marching in. All within the saints, they go marching in. I wanna be, yeah, yeah, when the saints go marching in. Go saints!
Alrighty. When the Saints Go Marching In, and I'm going to take you back to the world of Boogie Woogie. This bit of Boogie Woogie I'm going to do is from the classic sound of Boogie Woogie, which is really from the late 30s and 40s. And this is in the spirit and tradition of three gentlemen that really brought Boogie Woogie piano to the height of its celebrity. Their names were Albert Ammons, Pete Johnson, and Meat Lux Lewis, who you can find out a lot about online, but I'm just going to go ahead with this one. This is a little flavor of their style. let's go back to New Orleans next and do a little blues. That's a lot of fast notes. This is another old take on an old spiritual of the jazz up down there. It's called Just a Closer Walk with Thee. I could see those comments or read them. Okay, so let me switch gears and do something else that I wrote. And this is another instrumental boogie woogie that I wrote, but it's very much inspired by some of the grooves and some of the stylings of an old piece called the Cow Cow Blues, and later maybe a Ray Charles piece you probably heard of called The Mess Around. Anyway, this is something I called My Newfangled Stomp. All right. So there's another original for you. Let's go back and do a number that the great Fats Domino covered. I'm going to put a little boogie woogie spin on it, though. This is called Careless Love. Fats Domino, if you don't know, was a great New Orleans piano player and rock and roller. All right. And as I said, I'm going to try to share a little bit of my own music here in this brief session. We're going to go about just around the corner past 30 minutes. And not keeping great track of time, but I think we're going to be okay if we run over a little bit. This is a boogie woogie or blues song I wrote, and it's about so much of the blues is actually about drinking too much and the problems that come with that, or womanizing and all that other stuff. And that's not the blues of my experience. So I'm a family guy, and this is a blues about becoming a parent, and I think the lyrics will speak for themselves. It's called One More Day.
Since I had my kids and my wife, and I would ask for just one wish. Now we don't ask for much, we don't wanna make a fuss. What we're gonna lose our minds, we don't change. One more day to get some rest, one more day to go to bed. One more day, my God, give me one more day. A day to fight the fight.
Let's do an old tune, another old tune. This is, I'm going to try something a little funky. I don't know how many of you remember this movie, Jaws, out of the 70s. It probably dates me, but I certainly remember Jaws. And there's a scene in the movie where the gentlemen find the big fish in the ocean and they think they're at the helm of a successful hunt. It was hard enough to find them in the ocean, of course. And there's a song that comes about in Rejoice at that moment. They're down there enjoying some strong drink in the boat's cabin and some camaraderie, and they're singing this old song. It's called Show Me the Way to Go Home. And I'm going to do a little funky arrangement of that one.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I just need a rest. Had myself a time a little while ago. It went right to my head. No matter where I roll, land, sea or fall, always gonna hear me sing that song. Show me the way to go home. Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I just wanna rest. I had myself a time a little while ago. It went right to my head. No matter where I roam, land, sea or fall, you're always gonna hear me sing that song. Show me the way to go home. Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I just need a rest. Had myself some fun a little while ago. It went right to my head. No matter where I roam, land, sea or fall, you're always gonna hear me sing that song. I'm only young, yeah, that way to go home, go home, go home.
Show me the way to go home, and should check on the time. Let's see if my. All right, let's do maybe a couple more, and then we'll finish up. I understand that I'm going to have a short interview on Zoom right after this, but. All right, let's go back to New Orleans, and there's a wonderful piano player, piano blues player down there, who is affectionately called Professor Longhair. And Professor Longhair wasn't a virtuosic player and didn't really enjoy celebrity until late in his life, but he was such an inventive player, particularly rhythmically, that he helped to brand New Orleans piano blues sound and was an influence upon a great many artists. And this is a whimsical piece of his. It's called Rockin' with Fess. Professor Longhair. If you haven't ever heard of some Professor Longhair music, check him out. That's a lot of fun. All right, and once again, I should say, let me do at least one more song, and I'm going to do an original. I do want to tell people my name is Matthew Ball, B-A-L-L. You can find me online, though, as the Boogie Woogie Kid. I'm on Facebook as the Boogie Woogie Kid. I hope you'll come on over and like my page. Let me say thank you to the guys at Grove Studios for the kind invitation, for being a part of this live, I don't know what you call these things now, but I wanted to say podcast, and no, that's incorrect, but it's my pleasure to be a part of it, and live stream. And so I've done a lot of fast music, a lot of fast notes with a lot of movement of fingers, but I'm going to do a song that's just going to take it down to basics here, just some chord and vocals. This is a song I wrote called I Don't Know How, and it's about the unpleasant experience of getting old. I used to love the radio. You would play my favorite songs. I turn it on now. I don't know how. All those songs are gone away. I used to have black thick hair. Now it's all turning gray. Look at me now. I don't know how, but it's all fading away. I used to be 21. I was full of fight and full of play. Look at me now. I don't know how. Somewhere's gone away. Oh, I used to be 35. I was going floating through plenty. I look around now. I don't know how. They just went away. I used to have lots of friends. I'd see them every day, but I just sit around. I don't know how. Somewhere they went away. I can see decades past. To me they were just like yesterday, but I just turn around. I don't know how. It's all gone away. I go to church, sing my little prayers. I'm not sure who really cares. As I look around now, I don't know how I'm supposed to live today. Oh, I've done a little this, I've done a little that. I think I maybe tried it all. I turn around now, I don't know how, so I know I'll be gone. I used to love the radio. You could play my favorite songs. I turn it on now. I don't know how. All those songs are gone. Alrighty, let's finish on a high note after that one. A little bit more boogie woogie for you, and once again, it's been my pleasure to be here. Here's a little adaptation of a defiant kind of song out of actually Australia. This was one they loved to sing about an unnamed wanderer who forewent living in polite society to instead make his way in the free and open spaces of the outback. But living off the land, he inevitably ran into the law. And when the police came for him, rather than suffer the injustice of capture, he sacrifices himself. As he jumps to his end, he sings a song to that which has been his only companion, a small knapsack of his most treasured belongings, which he's called Matilda. And that's why this is called Waltzing Matilda. Thank you very much for listening. My pleasure to be here once again. Thank you, Grove Studios, for the invitation. I understand we're going to do a quick chat before we wrap up the hour. And on a serious and somber note, I hope you, if you've enjoyed some of this music and maybe it's lifted your mood or caused you to smile, that you'll take the time and please consider to donate to musicians like myself, whose income and lifestyle has been greatly impacted by the coronavirus, like so many other people. But thank you, folks. Talk to you soon.